Hi, everyone, and welcome to our new podcast, Anime Normies. This is episode 1. We are a married couple married to anime. We're going to try and release episodes every week, so come get your anime fix. So for our first episode, we're going to do a 2023 Wrapped and review our favorites from the past year.
Yeah, so we divided it up in 3 categories. We'll start off with our top 3 favorite villains, and then our top 3 favorite anime characters, and then our favorite animes of 2023.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's start with our first category, our favorite villains of 2023. Anna, do you want to start?
Yeah, okay. So for my number 3 spot for my villain, I have Jin
Nice.
from Link Click
Nice.
season 2. He made my number 3 spot because I felt like he was really villainy this season.
In what way?
In the diabolical planning kind of way.
Okay.
His grand master plan was years in the making, and he is a master manipulator who just like brings all these chess pieces together to like do his grand scheme. You find out something about him in the end that you're like, wow, you're like a really, really bad guy, and I don't want to give it away, but he's evil.
That's a good one.
He's a really mean guy.
Yeah. And he's pretty scary too with how intelligent he is. You know, he's obviously very intelligent, and you know, with his experience being a former cop, dangerous combination. So that's
diabolical.
That's a good one at the 3 spot.
Okay, what's your third?
At my 3 spot, I have Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. The reason why he earns my spot is because he's just a scary character. He is super powerful, and he knows it, and he just toys with everyone because he knows how powerful he is. There's this really, really cool and cold scene where he essentially cuts off a piece of Gojo's head because Gojo doesn't bow down fast enough, and I thought that was pretty insane.
He doesn't bow down low enough.
Oh, sorry. He doesn't bow down low enough. And then he has like this epic fight scene with one of the demons that Fushiguro summons. Probably one of the best fight scenes in all of JJK. And again, he was just having fun, and he knew that, you know, he was really never in any real danger, honestly. Just the amount of confidence that he had in the like 2 or 3 episodes that he was in makes him very menacing and scary. So that's why he's at my 3 spot.
He for me, I feel like when you get villains that are like that OP and that crazy, you just gotta I don't know. I just
respect him.
I respect them. I'm like, damn, you actually are him. I don't know. I feel like you don't really see it until, I mean, you do see it in the first season, but you don't really see it. Especially if we're anime only. So I have not read the manga.
Yeah, I haven't read the manga.
So before I just say, oh my gosh, I respect Sukuna, and then comes out that he does something crazy, which he probably does. Yeah. But the second season is when you really see what he's about, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is him.
Yeah, he is.
Actually, I respect you for that.
Which makes him even more terrifying, because it's just he's so good at being powerful and evil that you're just like, damn, I totally get it. If I had his power, I would probably be toying with my No, okay, I'm kidding. I'm not an evil person.
Okay. Hopefully you don't get any power in the future.
But when Panda, oh my God, the look of Panda's face in terror when he froze and he told no one to move, that was such a menacing, cold scene by him. And he was like, oh, you can't move until I clap my hands. That's how much power he has. He makes people freeze in place because they fear that they're going to lose their life if they move an inch. That's pretty awesome.
Dude, when Jogo like literally summons a meteor to come down and blow up Shibuya, and he's like unfazed.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, this is the best you got? Meteors falling out of the sky? Psh, child's play.
And a little side note here. Let's shout out to Jogo. I mean, he has fought Sukuna and Gojo, and held his own. He held his own against probably the two most powerful characters in the show. So I respect Jogo.
What?
He, remember in season 1, he fought Gojo.
And who's the other person?
Sukuna.
Yeah, he dies.
Yeah, but he held his own. That's what I'm saying.
No, he's not holding his own when Sukuna allows him to do all this
But
stuff.
Sukuna did give him props. He gave him credit. He was like, hey, you are powerful.
And then he was like, but actually I'm him and you're nobody.
Exactly. But I feel bad for him because he literally had to fight like the strongest characters in the whole show.
Jogo?
Yeah.
He's a villain. Who cares?
Give credit where
He's
it's
the
due.
bad guy. What are you talking
Give
about?
credit where it's due.
Don't feel bad for him.
All right, let's move on to your number 2 spot.
Okay, so my number 2 is Mahito.
Good one.
I actually like really, really, really hate this character, and I want him to die and just like a really awful, horrible death. Yeah, he ever since he got my guy Junpei in season 1, I hated him. And then season 2, he does a bunch of stuff I really don't like. And he is a really, really good villain. And that's why I really, really hate him.
I also have Mahito in my number 2 spot. And to kind of add to what you've already said, he's also kind of uncaring about the people that he kills. Like when he killed Nobara, he again just didn't care. It was like, again, a plaything. He was also having fun fighting people and killing people, and it's kind of the same logic with how Sukuna is so evil. But Mahito just, I don't know, he plays with his food too much.
Yeah.
There's
much.
a lack of respect for the characters that we respect and love. It made the ending of season 2 very satisfying, though, because of the amount of hatred you build up throughout season 2, and then you just like finally get to the end, and then you realize that he's now the one that's scared, and he's no longer having fun when Itadori's essentially staring him down, and because he beat Mahito at that point, and it's a very satisfying scene, just him cowering.
I wanted so much more out of that scene. Like, I really wanted him to die an excruciating, awful death.
Yeah.
Like, and then you see that scene when they're like in the snow and Itadori's hunting him down like a wolf. And you're like, wow, finally, I'm going to get justice for Junpei.
Yeah.
I'm going to get justice for Nobara. Like, that's right. Get that man. And right as you can just taste sweet victory, Gato shows up and is like, Mahito, want me to save you? I'm like, oh, no, get out of here. Go away.
It was too good to be true at that point. Yeah, that was super annoying.
That is not the death I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do our number 1.
Yeah, so our number 1 is actually you wanna tell me your number 1 first?
So my top villain for 2023 was the mother-daughter duo from My Happy Marriage. I hated these people probably more than anyone from 2023.
I mean,
they are evil incarnate, and they were just jelly bitches who kept messing with my girl. I have never wanted to literally jump through a TV screen and fight these characters myself so bad until these two. They just, evil.
They are incredibly vile to our main character, who is like the sweetest person ever.
Oh, she's so sweet.
Doesn't do anything wrong.
And she blames herself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, these mother-daughter duo from hell. Get away from her.
Like, I feel like you have to have some true evil inside you if you're going to somehow find the motivation to be mean to someone who is literally the kindest person you can ever be.
I hated these people. You know, like on the level of like villainry from 2023, they're, you know, not the worst people. There are people that murder.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they don't kill.
But these people, man, they really have me feeling some type of way.
Yeah. And yeah, it's really bad. They literally torture this girl into a depressed state almost, and it's really sad to see.
And it's so sad because they do not get what they deserve. I feel like they deserve so much more than what they got.
Yeah, they definitely should have lost more. And our main character is a very forgiving person, so I feel like, you know, in season 2, we're probably not going to get the justice that we want, which is really upsetting, but we'll see.
All right, what's your number one?
My number one is Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan.
Ooh.
I feel like Eren Yeager was a really easy number one pick for me because he indiscriminately kills, well, for the most part, indiscriminately, 80% of the world. You literally see babies and innocent kids dying, and he like knows, he's like aware. I'm like, I'm sorry, like, you're gonna die, kid. Like at the beginning of our final part 2, automatic evil. It's easy number one. And he also killed all those animals, like all these giraffes were running away from all these colossal titans. Like, could you imagine just like your dog dying because of Eren Yeager? Dogs don't deserve that.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Eren is not a good guy. He's very villainous. I mean, compared to the people I chose, like Eren's a bad guy.
I mean, he literally destroys the world. Yeah, I mean, like, culture is lost. Like, all these monuments and everything just trampled to the ground. History is gone.
I was still so sad. It just wasn't the ending that I wanted. I mean, he's bad, and he got absolutely what he deserved.
Yeah.
But I just was hoping for a happy ending.
Yeah, well, the ending I know is polarizing, but for me, you know, it needed to be done. And Eren had to go. He was a bad guy. He was so bad that his own friends were like, dude, this guy needs to die.
Yeah.
Hard to defend him.
But
easy number one.
Yeah, he was pretty bad in 2023.
Bad.
I mean, on the scale of bad things that a character has done, he's like number one.
He had a goal in mind, and he got tunnel vision on that goal, and he was going to accomplish that goal no matter what.
He's like, this is for my 5 friends. I'm going to kill everybody.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That man respects friendship.
Yeah. And, you know, the fact that he was initially our protagonist and, you know, good guy, person that we rooted for, and then became the person that he became, makes me feel kind of betrayed that I was rooting for him for these past 10 years.
Yeah, you're like on his side for like the past decade.
Yeah.
And then he starts like doing some really crazy stuff, and you're like, no, it's okay. He'll redeem himself. And then it just kept going, and it just kept getting worse.
Yeah. It's like he makes you not like him, and it's like, dude, Come on.
I was making excuses for Aaron for like a while.
You got to draw the line.
And then his plans were getting a little out there. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What you mean you're going to destroy the world? What? You crazy.
Yeah. Now to our favorite anime characters of 2023.
Okay, favorite characters from 2023. Coming in at my number 3rd spot is Mao Mao from Apothecary Diaries.
Good one.
I am a big Mao Mao fan. She is a woman of science. And I love that because this takes place like really long ago.
Yeah.
I think it's like 15th century. And she's just this little girl who's this educated woman, and she does research, and she's like the palace essentially doctor, because the palace doctor is like a goob. So he has to like essentially bring her in and do all the doctory stuff. So I just respect her. She just cares about her research and her science and her poisons, and she likes to be poisoned.
Yeah.
She's so fun.
And my favorite thing about her is that she doesn't simp over the best looking anime character in the show. While everyone else in the show likes to simp over this guy, she doesn't. And that, I love the reactions that we get from that guy, because he's just like, he doesn't know what to do with that. He doesn't know what to do with someone who's not attracted to him. And I love that because it drives him insane.
My girl is too busy.
Yeah.
She is too busy with her research and her science. She does not have time for these little boys out here at the palace.
Yeah. No, I love that for her. She's definitely different. So moving on to my number 3 for favorite anime character of 2023, and it is Anya Forger from Spy Family. The reason why Anya belongs in my top 3 is because her as a character really elevated and stepped up as a character. I mean, she is now the main reason why Yor's alive and why Lloyd is able to do the things that he was able to pull off in the season. She's literally carrying the team in the show.
Oh, I love Anya. She's such a cutie, like cutest character.
And she remains cute while she's like literally carrying the team. She gets no credit because no one knows what she's doing behind the scenes. So she's literally doing this for the good of her family, and she's not doing it for like the attention or the glory.
I just want her to tell them so bad. I want her to be like, I am a telepath. Like, let's work together as a family now.
Yeah. I love the part when she was in the daycare and she was like trying to entertain herself, but like got immediately bored and then just like escaped. That poor daycare worker though. Could you imagine how much trouble that daycare worker would have been if like she didn't find Anya? That's a huge liability there. So who's your number 2?
So my number 2 for 2023 favorite character is Nezuko. Nice. I really liked her in this season. I actually just like her in general in all the seasons because she's the best. She's so cute. I just love how she can go from like this like cute little thing when she like shrinks down and she's all cute, and then the next scene she's like this badass demon, like really like working these other guys. And then this season they were doing their cool combos, and then you really see that she is like that girl at the end when, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but in the end she like sacrifices herself for these like just regular civilians in the town. When I see this scene where she's burning to death in the sun, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way. Like, does Nezuko die right here? There's literally no way.
I thought she was gonna die.
I was in denial. I'm like, it's not possible. That's like your money maker for the show. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then you see she's her in the end. She actually conquers the sun.
Yeah.
which is like, wow,
That was a big plot
she's
twist.
special.
Yeah, that was a big plot twist.
She's no regular schmegular.
Mm-hmm.
She's like top tier demon.
Muzan can't even do that.
Muzan's like, finally, after hundreds and thousands of years of me turning everyone into demons, here's one little girl that can do it.
Yeah, he's jealous.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy badass and cute at the same time and selfless.
Mm-hmm.
She's the best.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, at my number 2 spot, I have Thorfinn from Vinland Saga Season 2. Now, the reason why Thorfinn is in my number 2 spot is he's a hero that's gone through probably the biggest character change in all of anime. I mean, he was a hero that resorted to violence, and now we see him become this person who refuses to be violent and prefers to be peaceful, like his father wanted him to be. It's easy to fight back and to resort to violence, but to be able to be on a level where you have to just sit back and not hit back. I mean, that takes a lot more than what people think, and that's the whole point of the show. And that character development definitely puts Thorfinn in my number 2 spot. And he's not like a Goku or a Naruto, or he's just someone who just has this deeper level to him that I feel like people don't really acknowledge as much. What are your thoughts?
Thorfinn. I am not a Thorfinn fan. I can't believe you put him as your number 1.
Number 2.
Oh, he's number 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't believe Thorfinn's on the list at all.
Oh my god. Why?
I recognize that he's going through some character growth, but my guy Thorfinn shouldn't have even been on that farm in the first place. Thorfinn, go home. Why are you here? Go home. What? Poor Thorfinn's mom and sister, all the stuff that he has put them through so that he can play dick around on the farm with his friends. It's time to go home now, Thorfinn.
He's an honorable person. He was condemned to slavery after assaulting the king, and he's just honoring that penalty.
Thorfinn does not have to stay there. If Thorfinn wanted to get up and leave, he could get up and leave. He could have. Nobody is stopping this man, because he's him. He's got the skill just to get up and go home. Yep. And he's not doing it to like serve out his sentence. He's doing it because he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's just mindlessly doing his slave stuff on the farm. I will give you that. Thorfinn definitely is probably the strongest person on that farm and could probably solo that entire farm easily and then just like leave. But that's just not who he is anymore. Dude, and the other slaves, Einar and that girl, they like talk about their past and they're like, yeah, like our families were slaughtered and like we have this really hard life and then we got sold into slavery and now we're stuck here. Thorfinn, you have a whole ass family at home and you actually just choose to not go home. Like that's just... What's wrong with you?
I didn't actually think about that. Yeah, they've lost everything. They lost their entire family, but Thorfinn actually does have a family that he can like escape to.
Oh, had the option to go home as well, many times.
Every day he wakes up, Thorfinn could literally just like leave.
Not to mention what's that guy's name? Leaf? Yeah. Leaf. Leaf literally shows up and is like, I have a boat and I will take you home. Thorfinn's like, nah.
He's like, nah, I got to resolve the issues that this farm is dealing with.
Thorfinn, you take your little slave friends, you beat up these loser slave handlers and get out of there. Go home. No, like I just don't.
I respect him
I
for
don't
the
see
character
it. I don't see
change.
the point.
Thorfinn still deserves my number 2 spot because of that character change, and that's that. Can't change my mind about it. He's the best. Well, second best.
He's not the best. Okay, number 1 spot for me is Sigiri from Hell's Paradise.
That's a surprising one.
I love her. She is actually my screensaver on my laptop. I think she's just such a badass. You start off the show and she like immediately is like exerts power, exerts dominance. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a fan of hers. And then they go to the island and she's kind of like in lame-o mode. And I'm like, oh shit, she's going to be another Sakura. She's going to be useless. Damn, I like really had high hopes for her. And then she goes through some stuff, does some meditating, some accepting all the parts of her, and then she's a badass again, and she really pulls it through for the final boss.
Yeah, she's a very good character. I agree. I was kind of also worried that she was going to be this Sakura that just needed to be saved by our main character, which happens, but at the end, though, definitely redeems herself, for sure. Her as a character really illustrates the theme of the show, of like yin and yang, where you have to acknowledge both the strong part of yourself and the weak part of yourself. And I think because she went through that slump in the middle of the season where, you know, she acknowledges her weakness, and because she acknowledges that weakness, she's able to essentially become this super amazing character, actually.
I know, so I love her. She's my favorite from 2023.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, at my number 1 is Frieren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love Frieren. As a show, I mean, obviously it's been very popular. A lot of people think it's one of the best shows of 2023, but Frieren as a character, the reason why I like her is because she's just so unassuming. She's very soft-spoken, and she just kind of is laid back, but at the same time, she's got like these little quirks about her, like her sleeping in and her wanting to find like these stupid spells. Like, I think that's like, in a way, like super, you know, unique and quirky about her, and it really, I don't know, it makes her stick out more for me. She doesn't have like this massive goal, like becoming the Hokage or becoming the king of the pirates. Like she just like does these side quests to earn stupid spells, like looking through other people's clothes. Like, and I think the reason why she is like that is because she already had like her story. She already had her big finale. She's just living her life. She's like living the retired life, essentially. She has all this knowledge, all this experience, all this strength. And so she's essentially like a maxed out character. Like she's at level 100. You know, after you finish the video game, you're super overpowered. You can beat anyone.
Yeah, I'm a big Frieren fan. She's going through a 1,000-year-long character arc, and you got to respect that for her.
Yeah, you know, even though she did have her big story, she's still definitely very flawed, and she still has a lot of growing to do.
I love how it's like so obvious that she is in love with Himmel like the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we know that, everyone knows that, and the whole season is her like slowly realizing that.
That's why she's at my number 1 for 2023.
She's a good one. Moving on to the last category, our favorite anime from 2023. Okay, so I'll start it off, but I just like want to say, because I have some honorable mentions, because this was really hard for me to get it down to just 3, because I really, there was some really good anime in 2023.
2023 was absolutely stacked. It's
Peak.
probably one of the best, if not the best, year for anime.
So honorable mentions, which is crazy because these are like really good anime,
Mm-hmm.
is Demon Slayer. Love Demon Slayer. Like big fan. Obviously, I said Nezuko was one of my favorite characters, but unfortunately, it did not make my top 3. And then also another honorable mention was Oshinoko.
Ooh.
Love Oshinoko. I was actually like rewatching it last night because I'm like actually very obsessed with it, and it has some of my favorite scenes because it's just so funny. And I was rewatching that like little dance that they do with Peon. I don't know how to say his name, but he's like the little chicken guy, and they
But
like
he's not little.
yeah, he's actually the extremely buff chicken guy.
Yeah.
And I want to like learn that little dance that they do. It's so funny. That's one of my favorite scenes from 2023.
That's a good one. I'm surprised Oshinoko wasn't in your top 3. So I'm really excited to hear what your top 3 is then.
So coming in at number 3 is Hell's Paradise. Yeah, so I really liked Hell's Paradise because of the mystery of it. I like a good mystery. I like trying to figure out what's going on in an anime and not like already kind of being able to guess what's going to happen next. Like this show, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going on. So I think that's why I really liked this one. It was very different. It was new.
That's a good one. The main character, Gabimaru, is really interesting. He's very powerful, and I love his motivation about, doing this mission, this suicide mission for the sake of the only thing he loves, his wife.
Who may or may not exist.
Yeah, now that's a whole thing that we can dive deep in, but we don't have enough time for. But yeah, that's his story is very complex and it's very intriguing for sure. The world building in this show is fun because we're learning this mysterious island with these people who have no idea what they're getting into.
I really like the dynamic of the main characters. So you have like Gabimaru, who is like the villain. He's like a bad guy.
Yeah, he's not perfect.
You have Sagiri, who is like the good girl. She's like the main protagonist. And so I like how like you have the criminal teaming up with the good guy to like figure out the island. I like that dynamic.
It's the yin and yang, which is again the overall the whole theme that I mentioned earlier in the episode about how weak, strong, good, bad. There's a sense of balance there, which actually is part of the whole power system of the show, which is really cool. Action scenes are good. The villains are really good, really creative. So I'm really excited to see what season 2 is going to be like. At my number 3 spot for 2023 is Vinland Saga season 2. Now, I won't repeat everything that I said earlier today, but I just love the fact that this is a season that doesn't rely on action alone. It really is more centered around character development and storytelling. The show is just so well written. It's emotional, and it has such a satisfying ending with the conversation that Thorfinn and King Canute have. And it was just, and then the reunion with his family and friends, just very, very satisfying ending. And I think the pacing was great. And that's why I feel like it deserves my number 2 spot. How do you feel about that?
Vinland Saga is like bottom of the list for me. That's
the
like,
disrespect.
That is a hot take. It's just season 2. I really like season 1. I mean, Thorfinn's extremely annoying the whole time, and he's delusional. But I don't know, season 2 just didn't slap for me. They were really doing just like a lot of farm stuff. Just really dicking around on the farm this season. I don't know.
When he could have gone home.
When he could have just gone home. Like, go home, Thorfinn. I don't know. And then he lets those farmhands punk him. I'm like, wow, the old Thorfinn would never stand for this. I thought there was like a scene in there where I really thought that Thorfinn was gonna like fight back and show these people like, actually, like, I'm a warrior, don't mess with me. And no, instead he lets them beat up Einar, and it's like, oh, so Thorfinn's like a real depressed loser this season.
No.
I see. Okay,
No,
I
he's
get it. I
steadfast
get
in his
it.
resolve.
I get it. He's going through character development. He's like non-violent because that's what his dad wanted. But like, okay, first of all, you wasted like almost your whole life. His dad in season 1 sacrificed himself to literally save Thorfinn, and Thorfinn turns around and throws his entire life away. And then season 2, he's like, maybe I shouldn't have been fighting this whole time. Yeah, no shit, dude. That's like what your dad, that was the whole purpose of your dad sacrificing himself. But okay, glad you figured that out now. And then Canute is all different now.
Oh, yeah.
Canute shows up and he's like, I'm king and I kill my brother and I screw over people and take farms now. Like, Canute, please. I remember last season when you were a crybaby and needed your male nanny to hold your hand. But okay, go off.
Well, and that's another thing that we can go on and on about is not only Thorfinn going through a change, but Canute. Massive character change from the Canute in season 1 who was completely hopeless to the Canute that we see now who's absolutely ruthless. But
and crazy and like hallucinates his dad's head in the corner.
Yeah, that's some parenthood trauma there for you.
Canute's going through it.
He is. But again, excuse me, again, a really satisfying ending. I think it deserves my number. What was it?
2,
3
3?
spot. 3 spot. Yeah, 3 spot. Yeah. So let's move on to your number 2 spot.
My number 2 spot is Heavenly Delusions. So this is another like kind of mystery anime, because you don't like the dynamic between how it goes back and forth from like the children in the facility to the kids that are like out in this like post-apocalyptic world, and how the show is like kind of mysterious and you don't know what's going on and like who are these kids in the facility and what are these monsters. I was a really big fan of this show.
I'm huge on world building, and I really like this sort of dystopian setting that we're in, and yeah, just the how everything is confusing, but at the end it ties in just nicely, and it's very satisfying that things that initially didn't really make much sense now makes more sense.
I just like shows that you don't really know what's going on, and so like because I love coming up with my own theories of like what's gonna happen, and then like retrospectively looking back and being like totally wrong because I'm never right ever. So I that's what I really liked about this show, because I was so wrong when you finally find out what happens in the end. I was dead off. But yeah, that finale scene really blew my mind. The plot twist in the end that like it's a different timeline, like they're not in the same time period. Really, I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you need to definitely prioritize it. I think it's probably, out of the new animes that have come out, I would definitely put it in top 3.
What's your number 2?
So at my number 2 is Frieren. So
you put a lot of
I know. There's
repeats.
A lot of overlap. But, it makes sense, right? If you've got a good show, you probably have some good characters. And I love the idea, I'm a big RPG fan, Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I really like stories that have like these parties that have individuals who have respective classes, the mage, the hero, the warrior. Like, I love that.
I think Freerun is a really good show, and
Yeah.
and we being people who like playing D&D
Yeah.
too, made us like it even more. There was
Yeah.
actually like a couple like kind of Dungeons and Dragons-y shows, like Mushoku Tensei, also
Yeah.
like same concept. The first episode, because I was like, what is this gonna be about if
Yeah.
it's like the adventure after
Yeah.
the adventure? And the first episode, you already see people from the party like grow old and die.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this about? What's next? Like, it's just really interesting.
But what I love about the show that it does really well is that it goes through flashbacks, so you kind of better understand Freerun's experience with her old party and how it connects to what's going on in her current party, and I think that's really cool. We're essentially seeing like two journeys at the same time. So yeah,
That was your number.
that was my number 2.
Okay,
So what's at your number 1?
my number 1 anime for 2023 is Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Personally, Attack on Titan is one of my favorite anime of all time. So to finally see this favorite of mine come to an end after all this time, I thought it was brilliantly written, and just like really all came together and was just very satisfying.
It's very satisfying, yeah. And I actually also have Attack on Titan at my number 1 spot. And the ending, I know, was polarizing for most, but I feel like the ending that we got is what we should have expected. And I feel like if it went any other way, I feel like, it just wouldn't be true to how it has been as a show since season 1. Like, we had to have Eren die. We had to have Mikasa kill Eren.
I called from like a really long time ago that I was like, I just know that Mikasa's gonna have to kill Eren. Like, I knew it, but I was in denial. I did not want that to be the story. I'm like, no, they'll come up with something. And even you and I were discussing like how it could end, and it was like it couldn't end any other way. But in my head, I'm like, no, like it's fine somehow. They're gonna change Eren's mind, and Mikasa and Eren are gonna like live happily ever after, even though he has 4 years left to live. I don't know. They would have figured it out, and they would have made it work.
As a show, the foreshadowing is just so perfectly done. The writing is done. Everything is consistent. Nothing's forced. I mean, everything is connected. Even like one-liners from like season 2 is still relevant to like season 4, and you don't see that a lot in a lot of shows. And here's a hot take for this episode for me, is that I feel like Attack on Titan, because of how well it's written and how well it's executed, that I feel like it's probably one of the best shows of all time that goes beyond anime. You can put it up there along the likes of Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and The Wire.
Yeah, it's a good show, period, anime or not.
Yeah.
And the foreshadowing in this show is unmatched. Like, you could watch the whole series and then rewatch the series, and it would just like be totally different, dude. And then plot twist in the end that Ymir is just like really sad and like the lamest bee ever.
Yeah. No, it's perfect.
When you find out that it's all because she actually just like really liked the king. Like, what?
That makes sense though. I mean, kind of like a Stockholm syndrome thing,
Yeah, that part I was like, okay, Ymir, you're doing way too much for a guy who don't give a crap about you. So
now I am surprised that we didn't see more deaths from our main cast. Like, I really thought Jean and Connie were going to die. I wouldn't have been surprised if Gabi died. Like, I feel like maybe there could have been an extra death here or there, but
I'm glad there wasn't.
I'm glad there wasn't.
I thought they were going to start killing off main characters too.
Yeah.
Thank God they did not, because I couldn't handle that. I mean, when Jean and Connie were, for what we thought, dying, I was like in denial. I'm like, no, there's no way.
I was about to cry because I really thought that Jean and Connie were going to turn into Titans, and that was it. They were going to die at the end.
I didn't cry because I was in denial. I'm like, there's literally no way. I can't process that right now.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
Well, and shout out Hanji for having probably one of the best deaths or most epic deaths in the show. I mean, the fact that she went out, taking out all these colossal Titans by herself. I mean, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh. And the ending, when you see everybody again.
Yeah.
When you see all your all of your fallen comrades, and like, we've been watching this show for a long time, and you grow up with these people.
Yeah.
You're a cadet with them, and then you grow into like a soldier with them. I felt like they were my comrades.
I also want to point out that when Hanji died, the person, she was laying on the ground, the person that lifted her up from the ground was Moblit, who was actually the person who pushed her into the well to keep her alive. So I think that sort of imagery is, just the little details like that really sets the show apart from the rest.
When you see Sasha again, I
Yeah.
burst into tears.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was actually kind of disappointed, and I thought it was like a missed opportunity to not have Marco be in the lineup too. And like be next to Sasha, especially since they talk about Marco all the time. And Marco is like actually a big motivator for Jean, for like what he does.
Even right before they die.
Right before they die, they're talking about Marco.
Before they become Titans, they talk about burning those dead bodies, which is, a reference to Marco. Yeah.
And so I thought that was a missed opportunity to have
I didn't think about that.
Marco there when all of the fallen soldiers come back. But hey, we still got our greatest hits lineup. Yeah. And then you see Levi do the salute, and he like never does that. Yeah. That's when it really hit home. And then like the after credits scene though.
Oh yeah, people hated that.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth. Sometimes I hate it because I'm like, wow, so it was like all for nothing. But then I'm like, okay, it's very realistic. Like, nobody lives happily ever after. Like, it's cycles of violence always repeat themselves.
There's always going to be conflict, unfortunately. So our favorite anime of 2023 goes to Attack on Titan.
It's a good one. It was like the finale of the finales.
I felt empty inside after it was done.
I know. It's like, what do I watch now? Like, what do I have to look forward to?
Yeah. Like there are animes that I look forward to, but Attack on Titan, there was a special sort of like desire to really watch the next episode. 2023
was a great year for anime. There was some really solid ones that we didn't get to talk about.
Yeah,
that
a lot of solid ones.
Were great. What are you looking forward to for 2024?
So Solo Leveling, which, we just watched the first episode yesterday, and it's great. It's I'm really interested to see how that's going to develop.
I'm really looking forward to this anime. Like, it's so kind of weird. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of hype.
I'm excited. I hope it's going to be good.
All right. So that was our first episode. If you enjoyed that, tune in for next week. We're going to try to release an episode once a week. Download the episode, rate the episode, drop a comment.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thanks for listening, guys.